First circle, Limbo. In Dante's Inferno, hell begins not with fire, but with silence. The first circle, Limbo, is a realm of eternal twilight. Here dwell the souls of the unbaptized and the virtuous pagans, people who lived with honor, wisdom, and courage, yet without the Christian faith. Unlike the rest of hell, Limbo is free from screams of torment. Instead, its punishment is more subtle and perhaps crueler, the absence of hope. These souls are forever denied the sight of God. Dante finds himself among the greatest figures of the ancient world: Homer, Aristotle, Socrates, even Julius Caesar. They are not villains, but neither are they saved. They walk in dignified sorrow, trapped in eternal longing. Limbo reflects a medieval belief that even the noblest human reason was insufficient without divine grace. The message is clear: brilliance, honor, or fame cannot break the barrier between man and heaven. Limbo shows that the greatest suffering may not be physical pain, but the eternal awareness of what you will never have. Second circle, Lust. Descending into the second circle, Dante is struck by violence in the air. Here begins the true storm of hell, the punishment for lust. The circle is ruled by a monstrous judge named Minos, who coils his tail around himself to decide the sinner's place in hell. When the lustful are condemned, they are cast into a violent whirlwind. Their sin was surrendering to passion without restraint, and now, in death, they are forever swept away by winds they cannot control. Among the storm, Dante meets the tragic lovers Francesca da Rimini and Paolo. Their affair led to betrayal, murder, and infamy. Now, they drift together in the hurricane, reaching out for one another but torn apart again and again. Dante listens to Francesca's sorrowful tale, and he weeps, showing that this circle is not only terrifying but deeply tragic. The eternal storm mirrors how lust overwhelms reason, turning love into chaos. For medieval readers, it was also a warning: desire without discipline destroys both body and soul. Lust in Dante's hell is not pleasure, it is passion turned into a prison of storms. Third circle, Gluttony. The third circle is a land of filth and misery. Here, endless cold rain falls, mixed with sleet and foul mud. The ground is a swamp of decay, where the gluttonous lie sprawled in the mire. Their sin was living only for food, drink, and excess. Now their pleasures rot into eternal disgust. Guarding them is Cerberus, the monstrous three-headed hound. With claws and fangs, he tears at the sinners, his hunger as insatiable as theirs once was. The gluttons moan, unable to rise, crushed by their own indulgence. For Dante's medieval audience, gluttony was not simply overeating. It symbolized waste, selfishness, and surrender to the body's cravings. The punishment, eternal filth, and the gnashing of Cerberus mirrored how such a life becomes degrading. Dante even meets a Florentine named Ciacco, who predicts the downfall of Florence. Through this, Dante shows how gluttony was not just personal sin but social decay, indulgence leading to corruption and ruin. In Dante's hell, pleasure without purpose becomes eternal rot. This endless hunger and obsession with excess didn't just stay in Dante's imagination. In our own history, greed and denial have fueled disasters too, like global pandemics, where human choices made everything worse. We explain that story in this video. Fourth circle, Greed. The fourth circle is the realm of the greedy, both the hoarders and the wasters. Here Dante sees two groups of souls locked in an eternal struggle. The hoarders roll massive weights in one direction, while the spendthrifts push them back the other way. They collide again and again, shouting insults at one another: "Why do you hoard? And why do you waste?" This circle reflects a medieval view of wealth as a moral burden. Hoarding riches without use was as sinful as squandering them in vanity. Both represent lives ruled by material obsession rather than higher purpose. Dante even points out that many of the damned here were once clergymen and popes, a bold critique of corruption in the medieval church. Their punishment is fitting, forced to push meaningless weights forever, just as they once misused wealth for empty ends. Gold and possessions cannot buy peace here, only endless frustration. Greed in Dante's hell is not prosperity, but slavery to possessions. Fifth circle, Wrath. As Dante reaches the fifth circle, he comes to the river Styx, a foul dark swamp bubbling with anger. Here are the wrathful and the sullen. The wrathful thrash and strike each other on the surface of the river, locked in endless combat. Their rage consumed them in life, and now it consumes them in death. But below the surface lurk the sullen, who lived in bitterness and despair. They gurgle beneath the muddy waters, choking forever on the gloom they carried within. This duality is striking. Wrath explodes outward in violence, while sullenness festers inward in despair. Both distort the soul, and Dante portrays both as equally destructive. The fifth circle draws on ancient imagery too. In Greek myth, the river Styx separated the living from the dead. Here, Dante transforms it into a swamp of rage, showing how unchecked emotion drags souls down into darkness. Anger in Dante's hell is not a moment of fury, it is an eternity of drowning in rage. Sixth circle, Heresy. Beyond the river Styx lies the city of Dis, a vast fortress with iron walls glowing red from eternal fire. Inside, Dante finds the sixth circle, the realm of the heretics. Here, the souls of those who denied immortality or rejected the church are imprisoned in flaming tombs. The lids of these sepulchres are left open, and the damned scream in agony as flames consume them. On the day of judgment, the tombs will be sealed forever, locking the heretics inside for eternity. This circle reflects medieval fears of false teachings. Denying the soul's immortality was seen as the ultimate corruption, leading others astray. Among those Dante encounters are Epicurus and his followers, philosophers who taught that the soul dies with the body. The punishment is chillingly symbolic. Those who claimed the soul ends at death now find themselves trapped in eternal burning graves. In Dante's hell, disbelief is not freedom, it is an eternal prison of fire. Seventh circle, violence. The seventh circle is vast and divided into 3 rings, each punishing a different form of violence. In the outer ring are those violent against others, murderers, tyrants, and warlords. They are submerged in a boiling river of blood, the phlegathon. The deeper their guilt, the deeper they sink. Centaurs patrol the banks, shooting arrows at any soul who dares to rise above its level. And if you want to see how violence escalates beyond imagination, not in hell, but here on Earth, check out our video on what happens when a nuclear bomb goes off. That destruction feels almost as terrifying as Dante's vision. The middle ring holds those violent against themselves, the suicides. Their souls are transformed into twisted, thorny trees. Harpies feed upon their leaves, tearing them endlessly. When Dante breaks a branch, the tree itself bleeds and cries, showing how their humanity is bound to their suffering. The inner ring punishes those violent against God, nature, or art, blasphemers, sodomites, and usurers. They wander a desert of burning sand, while fire rains eternally from the sky. This circle reflects medieval views of violence as not just physical, but cosmic disorder, to harm life, to harm oneself, or to defy divine order. Violence in Dante's hell is not only destruction of others, it is the perversion of life itself. Eighth circle, fraud. The eighth circle, called Mela Bulge, evil ditches, is a vast pit divided into 10 bulges, or trenches. Each trench punishes a specific type of fraud, a sin seen as uniquely human because it requires intelligence and betrayal of trust. The 10 bulges include panderers and seducers driven by demons with whips, flatterers sunk in a river of excrement, simoniacs, corrupt clergy, stuffed upside down into holes with flames burning their feet, sorcerers and false prophets, their heads twisted backward to walk blind into the future, corrupt politicians, boiling in pitch while demons tear at them, hypocrites, forced to wear gilded cloaks lined with lead, thieves, tormented by snakes that burn them into ashes, only for their bodies to reform and suffer again, false counselors wrapped in individual tongues of flame, sowers of discord, hacked apart by a demon's sword, their wounds healing only to be cut again, falsifiers, alchemists, counterfeiters, liars, diseased, crawling and rotting in filth. Fraud is punished with creativity and cruelty, reflecting the belief that deceit corrupts the very trust that holds society together. Fraud in Dante's hell is the ultimate perversion of reason, intelligence turned into treachery. Ninth circle, treachery. At the very bottom of hell lies the ninth circle, the frozen lake of Cocytus. Unlike the fiery torments above, here everything is ice. Treachery, for Dante, is the ultimate sin, betrayal of trust, the destruction of the bonds that hold families, nations, and faith together. The lake is divided into 4 regions. China, where traitors to family are frozen up to their necks. Antenora, for traitors to country and political party, their faces twisted in the ice. Ptolemea, for traitors to guests and hosts. So grave is this sin that their souls fall to hell before their bodies die. Judeca, the deepest part, where traitors to benefactors lie completely encased in ice. At the very center stands Satan himself, a colossal figure trapped waist deep in the ice. He has 3 faces, each eternally chewing a traitor, Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Christ, and Brutus and Cassius, who betrayed Julius Caesar. His wings beat endlessly, trying to escape, but only make the lake colder, freezing hell itself. For Dante, treachery is worse than violence, worse than lust, worse than greed. It is the collapse of loyalty, and it chills the world into eternal ice. If Dante's hell feels terrifying, remember, Earth itself holds its own apocalyptic threats. Supervolcanoes are real, and their eruptions could wipe out civilizations. We explained everything about them in this video, don't miss it.